So you've probably seen a bunch of different reports online recently about Microsoft and Nintendo and some kind of partnership around the Switch, whether that be Games Pass coming to the Switch or Master Chief coming to Smash or what have you. They are definitely planning something, as there is a bunch of hints towards this happening in some capacity, and we now today from Microsoft GameStack event have another Nintendo Switch featured in their background during one of the keynote speakers' presentations. So today we got to break down what we think this all means and what this partnership could entail for the future of the Nintendo Switch. What's up, Nation? If it's your first time on the channel, make sure you join Sunbro Nation by subscribing below. Hit the like button on this video if you enjoy it today, and make sure you turn on your bell notification icon so you're kept up to date with all the newest gaming news. Now today I wanted to make a video discussing what I think is going on between Microsoft and Nintendo, because we now have another piece of information that points to this being a real potential partnership of some sort, and they are continuing to drop hints in backgrounds and different tweets and different fan art things. So we're going to break down everything that we've seen released around this so far. But the reason I got the inspiration to make the video today is Microsoft did hold a GameStack presentation, and during that event, shortly after it went live, we did see a tweet go out of course, a screenshot of somebody that was holding that presentation with a Nintendo Switch in their background, and that comes to us after the fact that we had previously seen Phil Spencer hold a different presentation where there were numerous things in his back shelf, one of which being a Nintendo Switch, also something hinting towards a Kojima type of partnership. And according to Jeff Grubb, who is a very notable industry insider with rumors and leaks and things like that, he said that he was told that everything in Phil Spencer's background, even the Nintendo Switch, did actually mean something in some way, shape, or form. And then now you combo that with today's GameStack event and it also having a Nintendo Switch in the background, there is absolutely a reason Microsoft is featuring what you could consider to be a direct competitor. But I want to talk about why I think Microsoft does not see Nintendo nearly as much as a direct competitor as they do with somebody like a Sony, who really does compete on the same graphical performance and the same type of audience and user base. So I do think that Microsoft believes that there is space for both them and Nintendo, and Microsoft is really doing an interesting approach to the future of gaming with a broader overall target, because they're not really focusing on just the traditional exclusive games for just them and locking things down to just their platform. Granted, they did just buy Bethesda, or ZeniMax, the parent company of Bethesda, which means we will probably see all of Bethesda's titles in the future become exclusive to Xbox. That's one of their big moves, but they're doing things like partnerships and throwing around a lot of money to be on as many platforms as possible, as their grand vision for the future of gaming is to become a online streaming service, kind of like what we see with Netflix, where internet in the future will be so low latency that you will not be able to tell the difference between streaming your game or playing it physically. And I do think over the course of 10 to 15 years, we may see digital games only available and through streaming services primarily at that point, if they get the technology done right. So I think Microsoft is obviously trying to position themselves as the first one to win this battle, and they are doing it in a very aggressive way with stacking up their offerings through Microsoft Game Pass. They even recently have MLB The Show, which is a Sony developed title, on that Game Pass service. So whenever you look at the total cost dollar value for what you spend and what you get, it is truly outstanding. Now, to talk about what Nintendo has to do with all of this, we have again recently seen more and more hints from Microsoft about a partnership with Nintendo. We even have comments from Phil Spencer believing in Nintendo, saying that if they were to ever face hardship or go under, that the whole gaming industry as a whole should step up and help them actually maintain their position in the industry, or at least support them across the platforms, because of how important they are to the overall gaming industry. We have also seen, obviously, some cross compatibility with certain Microsoft titles on the Switch, such as Minecraft, Cuphead we've had officially released on the Switch, and then also games like Ori and just different Banjo games that you've seen over time where they are partnered together. So they're not opposed to working together by any means. And while all of these rumors and speculation could just be something like maybe Master Chief comes to Smash Bros, which would obviously be huge in its own right, I do think think there's something bigger going on here for the future of games, because we are in a really unique time frame where all consoles right now are actually performing very well. You have the Nintendo Switch, which is obviously not the newest console to the party right now, but they are at 80 million plus user base strong, and they're continuing to sell out of all of their on-hand stock. You then have Microsoft setting up these strategic moves with Game Pass and acquiring Bethesda and all of the different things that they are doing, and now a potential, combo partnership with a Kojima game. They're obviously trying to poise themselves to be a absolute must-have choice in the gaming industry. And then you have recent reports of the PlayStation 5 actually being the quickest selling console in the world, and dollar for dollar generating the most sales ever out of a console launch in history. So we are obviously in uncharted territories with how successful the gaming industry is as a whole. You've almost never seen this before. It's always one platform kind of dominates, and the other ones are definitely the obvious less popular options, and this is the first time we're seeing them all kind of find their correct footing in the market. So I think with something like a Microsoft and their grand plan for things, it would make a lot of sense for them to try to start having conversations with Nintendo about Games Pass on the Switch. And I do think that that even means it could be both ways, where maybe we see just the first party Microsoft games supported on the Switch, and maybe it's through xCloud and streaming only, because you have to ask, the biggest problem with porting games to the Nintendo Switch is not just the hardware limitations, but the space limitations themselves, because a lot of these games like Halo Master Chief Collection are 100 gigs plus, and if you want to run something like that on the Switch, how are you even going to fit it on there, unless if they come out with some amazing compression technology that we just don't know about yet. So that's kind of one of the big hurdles that they have to get past. So whether this is streaming only or whether this is a actual download to console will remain to be seen. But I also think that there could be something in the way of Switch games, certain ones. I don't think they're going to share their whole library, but certain Switch games that are developed by Nintendo to actually be supported on Games Pass on Microsoft as well, because we have seen Nintendo obviously target mobile by releasing things like Mario Run and different titles that have gone straight to mobile that are truly first-party Nintendo developed games. So they're not opposed to going outside of their box of just their own console for things. So they may actually feature support at some point for Game Pass and actually let you play certain Nintendo titles on a Series X or S or whatever Microsoft console, or maybe even PC, that support Game Pass. So I do think that is a definite possibility for the future. But again, guys, to present some of the evidence on how much stuff is pointing towards this, I want to walk through everything that they have done to hint this so far. So in addition to the Switch just being in the background of multiple presentations now that Microsoft has done, we even have the official Halo account tweeting out fan art that was created that features Mario in a Master Chief costume with Bowser in there. And obviously this was fan art created, but this one, when I saw it, definitely pointed to like a Smash involvement of Master Chief the most, because it's interesting that Halo decided to tweet something that obviously references Nintendo so heavily. And while the artwork looks incredible, I do think that it's probably something that they're just laying the groundwork of, saying that they have some kind of big announcement to come. The other thing that we saw is a leaker on Twitter actually tweet out the exact words of "the cat seems to be out of the bag on Nintendo and Xbox. You'll hear more in the fall." And I do want to stress on that timeline for a second, because I think a lot of people would expect something to come out of E3, as Microsoft and Nintendo are both there this year. And I do think that that would be a time frame that you would probably expect them to announce some form of a partnership where they could each feature the opposite company at their show and kind of reveal what the partnership is going to look like between the two. Well, I do think that while I would love to see it at E3, and according to this tweet, it may be until the fall, I think it makes more sense for Microsoft to really deliver it and deliver a great first party event for themselves and really strike it out of the park, and Nintendo to do the same and to not bring up this Game Pass or Master Chief in Smash at this event. And I do think it would make more sense to have some kind of a partnered showcase between the two to say what they're actually doing, probably just in a digital sit down format or what have you. But if the fall is the timeline that we're expecting to hear something between these two companies, I do think that again would line up nicely with when we will probably see the Switch revision vision officially confirmed and announced from Nintendo, and maybe that's the way that they also market this ability to play Game Pass, and we will probably see more memory and more ability, obviously, with a Switch revision. So maybe that solves some of the hurdles for certain games that can't be played from Game Pass to Nintendo. But at this point, guys, with all of the different, discussion around this online, I would love to know your guys' thoughts on if you think Microsoft and Nintendo are really partnering together, and if they are, what do you think that means? Is that just new games that are going to be cross-platform, playable on both the Xbox and the Nintendo Switch, or do you think this really is going to be full-on Xbox Game Pass coming to Switch, whether that be through streaming or not, or do you think it's something just as simple as Master Chief in Smash Bros? So please share all your thoughts on that with me in the comment section down below before you leave the video, and also make sure to go in and vote in today's community poll, where I will be asking you guys on the likelihood of a Microsoft and Nintendo partnership as a whole and what you think about that. So make sure you vote in the community tab before you leave the video today. Thanks so much for watching the video today, everyone. I do truly appreciate you all sticking around until the end. I do at this point in the video want to invite you all one more time to join Sunbro Nation if you haven't done so already. Do so by subscribing below, hit the like button on your way out on this video if you enjoyed it today, and make sure you turn on your bell notification icon so you're kept up to date with all the newest gaming news. That's going to do it for me, guys. I hope you all have a great day. Sunbro Nation, out.